Hello to the chicos! Hello to the chicas! Today we are going to throw in a big fat d4. But now I'm going to have to immediately eat my words, because if they provoke me with e6, it is going to be a French, friends. There is no way that we're not going to play e4. That being said, if you are a d4 player who plays correct chess with d4, c4, I don't count the Londoners as d4 players. So if you are a d4, c4 player, it's totally fine to play c4 here. But I wanted to stir it back to a French territory. Opponent is outrating us by una rating point. Now that is not a playable move in this particular position, and the reason for that is because there is just simply too much pressure on the center. So against knight d2, c5 is best. Against knight c3, c5 is really bad. Now I just simply take this, and after e d5 I can already win a pawn by taking c5. And I'm going to do that. Although I have a vague recollection that this is not the best move here, and for the life of me, I don't remember if it's bishop. I think it's bishop b5 check. Knight f3 is also very obvious, but I'm just gonna go caveman, and I'm just gonna take d5, even though I don't seem to be able to draw an arrow going that far. But yeah. So yeah, this is why impulsive pawn moves by black in most opening early phases is a bit of a meh. The only time when black gets away with this very early pawn charge at the center is the Tarrasch. Is the Tarrasch defense, which would have been me playing c4, my opponent playing d5, and then after knight c3, c5. That's a slightly different story. Here we just simply eat the pawns and be happy. Note that although I'm being greedy, my development is already taken care of. So bishops are good to go. Knight is ready to jump in. Matter of fact, if they take knight d5 is a tempo. So I'm taking absolutely zero risks by capturing this pawn on d5. If queen b6, then I would have had knight e4 defending and hitting c5. Check is a little bit pesky, because now if I block the check with a developing move, then my opponent is going to have knight f6 with a tempo. I don't like that. So I'm going to offer another queen trade with queen e4. And if they want to dodge that, then I'm going to play knight f6, free rather. And if they play knight f6, then I have a very good square for my queen on h4, where it can no longer be pested. Except I just talked absolute rubbish there, because then there is a discovered check with the bishop. So what do we do after bishop e6? What would I have done? Maybe bishop e3? Maybe bishop e2? Maybe bishop b5? Yeah, actually that's that. That's it. Bishop b5, knight probably d7, knight f3, knight f6, and then I can pull back to e2 with my queen. That's it. Now this looks really sad though. Like, what are you going, bud? He wants to mess with my pawn structure, which I would happily allow, by the way. Because with that I would obtain the bishop pair, which is worth infinitely more than the damage on the pawns. But bishop d2 seems to me to be a quite annoying move, because I have a strong feeling he's going to take this. At which point I'm going to do the intermezzo queen trade and then take back with the bishop, walking away with all the goodies. And now someone on Discord is asking me about how to mate with bishop knight. Life is always fun and complicated. So, queen takes, knight takes. Bishop takes, and I will take back. Now we just do this, then we take the bish. And we have got the bishop pair. Happy days. Castles. Do I want castles or knight f3? Impossible to tell, so let's go castles. This is one of the most underutilized moves in the game of chess below 1800 level. Most people are obsessed with castling kingside for absolutely zero reasons. This has the benefit of bringing the rook immediately to the open file, which is why it should be looked upon as the default choice almost, rather than castling kingside. Certainly in cases like this. Oh wow. Mukbang at its finest. I can't even drink. Okay, I have no idea why that knight went to c6. This knight needed to go somewhere, more than likely to c6. So let's develop our dudes. Now I'm really hoping that they're going to play bishop g4, which they did, because I wanted to demonstrate an idea and the concept to you. And that is that most players below 2000 level are obsessed with double pawns, and they fear them like the plague. And 98% of the time, they avoid double pawns in their own games in positions like this, when it's completely unjustified to want to avoid the double pawns. So I'm now purposely provoking my opponent to take this to demonstrate to you how you shouldn't really be afraid of this, because what would have happened in case of takes? Now I have got two bishops versus two knights, which is the ultimate bishop pair, opposed to the against bishop knight. My opponent knight can't develop to d7. It has to go to a6, where it looks absolutely horrid. Third or second, I have got my pawn majority on this side of the board versus the two, so it totally doesn't matter what my pawns look like here. And last but not least, the g-file pressure is quite obnoxious actually here after bishop takes. So I think my opponent did very well and wisely with a V. No, wisely. By going to h5. Of course, my first idea now is to hassle it with g4, bishop g6, but then I really would like to have a good response to bishop e4, which I do not have. So what we are going to do, wisely, is to develop this bishop first, so that if they play, let's say, knight a6, after g4, bishop g6, I have rook e1, completing development like a boss, and also cutting out bishop e4. Awesome stuff. I have a strong feeling that my opponent is going to take now. Which, by the way, doesn't really make sense in terms of, you know, going back and then take as like a subtle trick. I just don't know. I'm just having that vibe that he's not going to play knight e7 because it's hanging. He's not going to play knight a6 because they will not like it. They look to do something else. There's nothing else to do, so they will take. Let's see if I'm reading the opponent correctly. Mind you, knight a6, actually, I just realized, especially after bishop c4, allows the super obnoxious rook d7. Rook e8. Okay, matey. So g4, bishop g6. Now, I don't want to play this, because then after take, the knight can come out. But after h4, bishop e4, I mean, I have knight g5. Kind of pretty. Plan B, improve my piece placement. And that can be accomplished by a really cool move. I'm very glad I found this. Rook d6. What am I hoping to do with rook d6 is very simple. I am completely denying the development of this knight. Note that d7 is still unplayable. And now knight a6 loses a piece to bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes c6. So this is one of those situations when many players would get impatient and they would like to force the issue, do something. Whereas often you will find that the best thing you can do, and I'm not suggesting that this is the best move, by the way, by any stretch, although I would be surprised if it wasn't top 3, is that I'm just completely suffocating my opponent and I'm taking away all of their good moves. Sometimes the best move is not when you do something that looks like really amazing, but simply just something that denies your opponent to do anything good. And, ooh, buddy. Whew. How can they survive this? Isn't this back rank really, really tender? Love me tender. Well, we're going to go for it. So now we are expecting h6. Oh, but then g4 takes and rook takes. See how good moves always reward you with tactics? I was very vaguely conscious of the fact that rook d6 was kind of hitting g6. But not conscious enough to, you know, take particular note of it. E.g., I didn't mention it. But all of a sudden, it became the main motive. Because now this is mate. Ta-da. Here we go. G6 doesn't stop it because of the bishop there. F-pawn moves are illegal. The knight can't move to back up the back rank because of the known problems. So they had to open it up. And here we go. G4, bishop G6, rook G6. And they resign. And all of this comes from restriction. Take the, you know, the game out of their hand, take the sail out of, rather the wind out of their sails, and ta-da, and they can't even stop actually rook g7, so we expect resignation here now. Yeah, wow, rook d6, guys, rook d6. That was a sweet little move there. I really, really liked it. Tuk, 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 g4, tuk, and the resignation incoming. What opening was this? Oh, that was the bad French. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this, to be honest with you. We just took a pawn, we then went into a clearly winning endgame, and we just kept on pressing. And, yeah, I mean, what you do see, though, hopefully, is that in every single game I have played and published so far in this account, I always have this marvelous image of a fully deployed, completely developed army. I am playing basic chess principles that are taught to you not when you are 1000, but when you are 0. This is what teachers, chess coaches tell you to do. To develop, to put your pieces on good squares. And as you can see, and it's very cruel when it's put that way, but it is what it is. What people tend to do in their first, you know, X 100 games en route from 0 to 1000 to find the most creative ways out there to violate these rules and principles for no good reason. Other than, you know, there are too many things to do, and so when the choice is offered, it's easy to go astray and opt for something that is very far from optimal. So if king here, I have got this mate idea, which I think I'm going to go for. How do they stop it exactly? Rook move, but rook moves hang both this and this. So that's not doable. F-pawn move, F5 is still made because then the bishop covers the diagonal. So F6 maybe, which nets me a rook down here. F6 nets me a knight here. That's, by the way, what you call the X-ray motif, which is almost always incorrectly used in chess language and in chess articles, because they confuse it with discovery. But yeah, here f6 would have been beautifully met by the check and takes, or rook takes d7. So, opponent played king e8, so now we are looking to checkmate the king as soon as possible, or to win even more material. So rook h8, knight f8, bishop g7 appears to be the cleanest way to win even more stuff. And this, again, is actually a checkmate threat. also known as an ouchie. And the only way to deny that is to move the rook, which loses knight and rook. GG, I would say. G to the G is the GG. Friends and frenemies, that's it. Let's have a look at the game review. I expect a very high score. 98.2 is what we expect. Let's see. Drum roll, please. 96. Woo. Really? Where's the love, bruv? What did we miss? Let's go back to normal view. I prefer this. Okay, let me see. So that's best, and that's best. Okay, so apparently I did the right thing. Ah, yeah, bishop d2 wasn't best. Ha! h3, best move. Was it? No. The engine slightly prefers here rook d6 or bishop c4. Which, ironically, are moves that I did play in the game, but I wanted to provoke this situation to demonstrate to you how badly off black is here, despite the supposed damage. But unfortunately, it didn't happen, because they dropped back, and rook d6, man, that was not best. Wow. So apparently g4, bishop here, knight h4 was best, hunting down the two bishops again. Fair enough. No regrets though about rook d6. I think I would still play it. Yeah, that was bad, and now, yeah, it was Carnage City. Well, friends, here we go. That was another interesting game and cool victory in the speedrun series. We are rapidly approaching 11 hundo, so please make sure that you haha. That's what you do when you are working in a bakery. You bake sure that you follow me, you stay with me. Please don't forget to smack a like-a-reno, sub if you haven't done so yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.